There you are. There you are. Road
What's
trip.
up, C. Rosie? Oh my God, you're at the baseball field.
I am. I'm at the Padres slash Mariners spring training complex in Peoria. Yeah.
Wow, good for
Yep.
you. What a dad
Yeah.
you are.
Yeah. You know what? And I do have one thing to say. I love watching my kid play. We are pricing people out of this game. I I got to get it off my chest. I walked in here today after paying a lot of money, which I don't mind paying, but there's a lot of people who can't pay and can't afford it. I walked in the door, they just charged us extra money to be able to watch our kids play after we paid to have our kids play. So I just think we got to clean it up a little bit. We're losing a lot of players and a lot of athletes because they're getting priced out of the sport, and it pisses
Absolutely,
me off.
that's ridiculous. You have to pay to watch your kids play.
Well, it's just an extra expense for something. Like I said, I'm in a great position. I'm very fortunate. Plouffe, not everybody is that wants to play this sport, and they can't
100.
travel around, and then they're getting charged extra money. We got to stop this shit. Like enough. Let's clean it up a little bit. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you. It's not you that's doing it, but I just wanted
Don't
to
yell
get.
at me, man. I
No.
agree with you.
Okay, so let's get to some fun stuff. Not really. Josh Donaldson did meet with the media before yesterday's game. Uh, had some very interesting things to say about our buddy Lucas Giolito. All but called him a cheater.
If we're going to talk about class, what side are you going to choose? Are you going to take the side of someone who's playing the game fair, or are you going to take the side of somebody that was probably cheating before this happened?
What did you think of the whole proceedings?
It's just an unfortunate byproduct of what's going on in the league right now. These, like we said yesterday, like these are two guys that I enjoy talking to both of them, and they're just going at it, in front of everybody.
Right.
Sometimes this will happen behind closed doors. This one's not. So it's kind of a bad look for the game.
Horrible.
But it's gonna happen, and I don't think it changes anything in the long run. I think both guys are just going to go out about and do their business. Donaldson has, he hit the home run yesterday. I thought that was a pretty cool moment just because that's the kind of player he is. I tweeted out yesterday, like he's hit a bunch of FU homers. I remember in Oakland when I was playing third base there, Josh comes in with the Blue Jays. It's well documented that him and Billy Beane didn't get along. He goes and hits a home run. I see him grounding third base and just looking straight up where Billy Beane's sitting up in the suite. So this is the guy that Josh is. He kind of like thrives on stuff like this. He has that kind of personality where like he wants to be challenged. And for Lucas on the other hand, it's like he's just doing his job. Things are changing in baseball. Their team is in first place, so like both these guys are kind of right.
Yeah, here's the thing. Is Donaldson going to have a press conference every time he faces somebody who he thinks was doing something to the baseball? Is he going to address his teammates? Is he only going to call out one guy? Like, where does it end? And I have to imagine that the owners are sitting there going, this is exactly what we wanted. We wanted player versus player. The fraction is happening. Now, I don't think big picture it's going to cause any issues in the players' union. But it's not a good look to have player versus player when it comes to this thing. If it's stuff that happens truly on the field, it's different. I didn't like the way a guy slid. I didn't like the way a guy did this or that. We're talking about something that, in my opinion, is very different. So I'm just not sure how it helps the players. I'll be talking to Lucas tomorrow for our podcast. I'll be fascinated to see how his parking lot meeting went with Donaldson from his vantage point. And we're going to ask all the important questions. I don't know.
Yeah, I've heard a couple of different people say that about fracturing the players' union before the CBA. I don't think it's gonna
I don't
do
either.
anything at all. What this really is, Chris, is the players having to police the game themselves again because MLB can't figure out the right way to do it, or took too long to do it. So, like this is just the players, trying to make the game better and cleaner when MLB didn't step up and police their own game.
You're right. All right, so let's move back to on the field. And New York was a zoo yesterday. The buzz was because of Shohei. He ends up not even getting out of the first inning and giving up 7 runs. So what was crazier, the start to the game or the end of the game where Chapman gives up the game-tying grand slam, and then the Yankees end up losing to the Angels with a 7 spot in the ninth.
It has to be the end of the game, but, like, these walks, man. We talked about Shohei and the walks yesterday. I didn't know it was going to be that bad.
Right.
And then, so it was the end of the game. After those couple rain delays, we had our buddies in the stands. Jake and Jimmy and a bunch of dudes from our JOMBOY media were in the stands all night long. Chapman comes in, non-save situation. I swear to God, Chris, my first thought was, this is not going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
Sitting around that long, this guy doesn't want to pitch. The problem is he hadn't pitched for a long time.
Right.
So Booney's like, all right, I'm going to get him in. I don't think it was the right decision. And I'm not even talking hindsight here. I'm talking about, 2 rain delays. That's not the time to put the guy in that doesn't already like to be in games without a safe situation on hand. So he gets put in, walk, grand freaking slam. I mean, that's about as brutal of a loss.
It's bad.
As you can have for the Yankees.
Well, timing is everything, right? And things have been seemingly sliding downhill for that franchise, right? Their GM has come out a couple of times and said, we're awful right now, and this is on me, and I still believe in Aaron Boone and all sorts of stuff. This was the wrong time to put a 7 spot up in the first against the biggest name in baseball and then lose when you've got your dominant closer on the mound. It's just, right, it's just 1 of 162, but Trev, tell me if I'm wrong. It feels more than 1 of 162.
Yeah, I mean, it's just brutal. The Angels aren't a very good team right now. They have their best player and their best pitcher on the mound. You knock him out, have everything going for you. You didn't even play Judge or Urshela, which
right.
People are already mad about.
Mm-hmm.
But then you go out and start the game like you did, so everyone's like, okay, here we go. Season starts today. And then a couple rain delays, and then I don't know, man. I don't know what it is with relievers and not wanting to come in, especially closers and not wanting to come in close situations or
in non-save situations. Yeah, that's always been a problem. I've never understood that. I suppose I have to talk to a guy who's done it on a regular basis. But yeah, I mean, if you're called on to pitch and protect the lead, I don't care if it's 4 runs or 3 runs. I mean, one's a save situation, the other one isn't. That shouldn't matter.
Hey, let's give credit to Jared freaking Walsh, though, man.
Killing it.
Are you kidding me?
Yep.
Sitting on the slide piece, lefty slide piece, and just going Yahtzee,
Dude.
So, as bad as it was for Yankees, the Angels gotta love that. I know their season's not really going the way they want, but what a freaking win.
And not only did they lose Ohtani, the pitcher, in the first inning, they lost Ohtani's bat the rest of the game. Sometimes he'll stay in the game. They couldn't afford to do that. So
can we talk to Joe about this? Let's not have Ohtani hit. It's worked 2 times in a row now.
One of the Yankees broadcasters yesterday, I think it was Coney, who said something like, Joe Madden loves to give us the highest degree of difficulty. If he was a diver in the Olympics, then he would always be trying the most difficult dive. So it was fascinating, but it was a huge win, and we'll see what happens this afternoon in the Bronx. All right, let's move on to the Milwaukee Brewers. They also gave up a 7 spot in the first. They also ended up winning the game. They have now won 8 in a row. They have the biggest division lead of anybody out there. It's 6 games over the Cubs. Do you think that Milwaukee will relinquish first place in the NL Central at any point the rest of the season, and if so, to which team?
My first thought was I'm going back to look at who they've been beating lately, and they've been beating some pretty mediocre teams.
Oh no, you're not playing that card. You're not playing the schedule card. This isn't college football. Though. They play the same schedule as everybody.
I said my first thought, Chris. Okay, they've been playing some pretty bad teams, but then I went to the standings.
Mm-hmm.
There's nobody catching them.
I don't think so either.
The Cubs aren't going to do it.
Mm-mm.
The Cardinals are in disarray right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think they do. And it's more on the division than anything. I don't think the Brewers should be – I know they're pitching the hell out of the ball, and they're actually – since Willie came over, they're hitting the ball pretty well. But this should be a tighter race. They shouldn't be running away with it. They're not that much better than everybody else. It's just the division is so bad this year. So now they're hot, and they have the pitching to do it. I don't think anybody catches them. Because they're going to make a move still, Chris. They will make a move for a bet.
So two quick points. One is that they have far and away the best pitching in that division. Rotation, their top 3 can compete with anybody in baseball, in my opinion, right?
And the back end.
And that's the point, is that they have the 8th and 9th totally locked down now that Williams has found himself again. The other point is This team hasn't hit worth a lick. I mean, they had the worst batting average in the National League, and they're still leading their division by 6 games. And my last point, so I lied. It's not 2 points, it's 3. If you don't think that an early season trade can make a difference, like if you want to be the GM that is like, oh, I've got to get the best deal, I don't want to overpay. Look at what Willie Adames has meant to this team. Look at what he's meant to them, giving them a great glove at shortstop, an emotional leader immediately, which is a hard thing to do. You'll admit, when you get traded over, you can't always be the same guy that you were elsewhere, and Willie Adames talked about that on the Rose rotation. But his OPS is almost 900. So if you're a GM and you think that 1 or 2 guys can make a difference, you better trade for him right now. Don't wait for the deadline. Don't be like, aha, I got him. Who cares about that? If you think one guy can make a difference, go pull the trigger, dude.
I totally agree. And like I said, like, they did that, and they're going to do another move, and their pitching is so good. Like, I just don't see, unless there's some crazy injuries, which we're never going to forecast.
Right.
Like, they're going to run away with this thing.
Yeah.
And I'll be the first one to admit I was wrong. I said the Cardinals are going to be the best team in that division. That pitching, sorry.
Yep.
Their
I'm
pitching's
with you.
too damn good.
Hey, don't look now, but the Washington Nationals are charging straight ahead thanks to Trey Turner, who got some, I guess, good Rose rotation mojo. On his 28th birthday, he hits for the cycle. It's his 3rd career cycle. That's tied for the most ever in baseball history. And look at what the Nats have done. They're just 2 games back of the Mets in the NL East. Are we talking serious contender here, or is it just they're on a good run?
I think we're talking serious contender here. I think that, if you look at what Schwarber has been able to do for them is incredible. But then you go look at the numbers, you look at Trey Turner's, and like they're better than Schwarber's. They have some offense. They can get it done on that side of the ball. And then if they can stay healthy on the pitching side and continue to get Patrick Corbin to kind of get his season back on track.
Right.
He's had a couple good starts lately. This is what we look for in teams that are contenders. Like, do they have the pitching, the starting pitching that can go head to head with anybody? They do when guys are healthy and if Patrick Corbin can turn it around. And then they have a couple guys at the top of their lineup that can do it. I think they're serious contenders. I really do.
So, first of all, we both know that no team's going to run away with this division. It's just the way it is. I think the talent gap is just too narrow between teams 1 through 5 in this division. Strasburg is throwing like a 55-pitch bullpen coming up, so I don't know, maybe after the break we see him. Daniel Hudson seems to be close to being on his way back. That will be helpful. To me, the next 10 days before the All-Star break is their season, because I don't know if you check their schedule. 4 with the Dodgers, 3 with the Padres, 3 with the Giants. We're going to learn a lot about the Washington Nationals. If they can get through that 10-game gauntlet by going 5-5, I'm a believer. If they end up going 2-8, you still might be in that division. I don't know, but only because of the division, not because of how good you are, right?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's kind of what I'm looking at here. Everyone's jumped together or jumbled together, and it's a crazy stretch right there.
Yeah.
Padres, Dodgers, Giants. So yeah, we're gonna have to revisit my answer in a week.
Right. I'll abstain from answering the question until I see you in Denver. For people that are just joining us, a lot of people are like, Rose, are you on a jog? First of all, I haven't jogged since about 1989. Number 2, I'm at my son's baseball tournament at the Mariners and the Padres spring training complex. So if you happen to be here and you're watching, come on over and say hi or don't and yell at me, and you can tell me how handsome Plouffe is and how Jake sucks and how Jimmy's going to be miserable today in the office because of what happened with the Yankees. Whatever. You can just say hi. Last point before we get out of here.
Wait.
Yeah.
We talked to the Nationals. I wanted to give a shout out to Ryan Zimmerman, who's just absolutely still doing it.
37 right?
years old. Like, what a guy.
Mr. National.
I love that. So, like, that's another little tidbit, little storyline that they can draw on towards the end of the season. Ryan Zimmerman, Mr. National, leading them to the playoffs. I like it.
I love it. We just talked about the Mets. They got blown up in Atlanta last night. 20-2 was the final. Albert Almora actually went up to his manager and said, listen, if it gets out of control, throw me in as a position player. I'll take it. Gave up Ozzie Albies' second homer. Now, you have told me in 2004 in that draft, you were the best two-way player coming out of high school. I looked at the stats. You did not get a chance to pitch mop-up duty in the major leagues. How much does that chap you?
Kind of. It hurts a little bit. I asked many, many, many times. But when I had the chance to, like when I was with the Twins, I don't want this to sound the wrong way, but I was just making a little too much money at that point.
Oh my! All right, that's it. It's over.
That's what the manager
It's
told
over.
me, man. That's what the manager told me.
With me.
Okay. Here, I'll tell you why that makes sense, Chris. Guess when I did get to pitch? When I was in AAA in the bushes with the Phillies making no money. So that'll
How'd that go, by the way?
It went pretty good. I didn't throw as hard as I thought. I think I hit 86.
Okay.
I was sore the next day. It wasn't great, Chris. So now I look back and I'm probably thankful I didn't have to embarrass myself on a bigger stage. Like I got to do it in AAA when nobody was watching. It was fun. I was sore and I wasn't as good as I thought.
Can I just tell you that Cocky Plouffe is the best Plouffe?
No,
that's got to bust out, man. I'm sorry, I was making too much money at the time. That's the best flex ever in the history of JOMBOY media.
Paul Molitor told me that, all right?
Yeah, that was great. I love that. What do you have coming up on JOMBOY?
Dude, I am done for the day today. I'm probably going to film a sequence episode today that doesn't come out till Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
And then tomorrow we're going to be recapping this week, and oh boy, I bet that's going to be a fun episode for everybody. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Yes,
in the game right now.
So, Rose Rotation, latest episode with Trevor May and Austin Riley, who are in the midst of a series between the Mets and the Braves. Fun episode. Austin Riley's a really good kid. He was a guy that was a two-way player coming out of high school as well. He's got an amazing, amazing story. He was on the board for 28 teams as a pitcher. You won't believe what he told them right before the draft started. So you'll want to tune into that. That's the latest episode. And then tomorrow I'm taping Lucas Giolito and Dylan Cease, and I imagine that they might have a few things to say about what transpired this week.
Oh my, yes they will. Yes they will. I want to make a point.
Yes, sir.
We're trying to be positive and uplifting on this show, but today, July 1st, is the anniversary of Tyler Skaggs' death.
Mm-hmm.
And this is going to be a tough day for me.
I'm sure it is, buddy.
Brings a lot of things back. Him and I are really close. So what I want to say is, if you know anybody that's fucking around with opioids, or you're fucking around with opioids, just ask for help or do something, intervene, because it's not something to fuck around with recreationally. It could ruin your life, take your life, for that matter. And it's fuck, man.
I'm sorry that you and your friends and his family are going through this, man. I love you, brother. I remember I was working that day, and we literally got it about 5 or 10 minutes before we were going on air, and we were like, when you first hear something like that with such a young, vibrant person, it shakes you to your core, and all I could do was think about his friends and family, and so guys like you, I know it's hard. What I would just say is just rely on your good buddies today and keep telling those great stories about who he was and how you carry on his legacy, because that's the important stuff, in addition to making sure that people are well in this world, because it is a terrible, terrible addiction. But I'm with you.
Just reach out, man. Just reach out if you got something going on. It's better to do that. If you know somebody, fucking go. That's the biggest thing. And I didn't have any idea what was going on. I wish I freaking did. So.
I hear you, man. Well, I'm sending you a big hug, dude. Sending you a big hug on that one. Hang in there. We appreciate everybody tuning in early. We're going to do it a little early tomorrow as well, since I got Giolito and Cease. I think we're going to try for 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific, if Plouffe can pull that off. I don't know if he can.
I got you, man.
You're a good dude. And by the way, it's 7:20 local time in Arizona, and I felt like I just ran a marathon. I am sweating. It's so nasty out here.
Maybe you should go on a jog. How about that?
How about a power walk? Here, the Rose Power Walk. That is, I'll burn about 16,000 calories just doing that.
I imagine you found a bunch of autographs there today. So.
Oh yeah, they're all lined up. I'll be with you in a minute, man. How are you? Yes, you too. Oh yeah, Jake does still suck.
He does.
Awesome. All right, dude. Have a great day. Hang in there, brother.
All right. See you guys.